This is super slime, mixing together some regular old stuff to make an ooey gooey science project. Here we go. Things you'll need to make your super slime. First, a graduated cylinder. This will help us measure liquids. A Dixie cup. Water. A 4% sodium tetraborate solution, otherwise known as borax. White glue, a stir stick, and food coloring. Everything you'll need for super slime. Step number 1 in super slime is adding 15 milliliters of white glue to our Dixie cup. Now, some of you might say, no problem, I'll just fill 15 milliliters of glue in my graduated cylinder and dump it in. Wait a minute, if you do that, it ain't coming out. I have a special trick instead. Watch carefully. I'm going to fill 15 milliliters of water into the graduated cylinder, pour the water into my Dixie cup. I now know how much volume this liquid will hold. I'm going to take my pen and carefully draw a line right where 15 milliliters of water has risen to. I have now made my very own graduated cylinder in a Dixie cup. Now that I've completed this step, it's your turn. Now what I'm going to do is pour in my water back into my graduated cylinder. We'll use that later. I now know how full 15 milliliters would be. I'm going to carefully pour white glue into my Dixie cup. I will fill it right up to the line that I made with my water. I will now have 15 milliliters of white glue. Perfect. Now that I've entered 15 milliliters of white glue into my Dixie cup, it's now your turn. Step number 2, pouring in 15 milliliters of water into my Dixie cup that's holding 15 milliliters of glue. Watch carefully. I'll pour this in, and now I will add 2 drops of food coloring. It can be any combination you want as long as it's only 2. Today, I'm going to choose 2 drops of green. 1, 2. At this time, I will now stir this solution together. Now, at first the glue will remain white and clumpy. You need to continue stirring until you see this entire solution become the same exact color. It might take a little bit of work. Right now, what I'm doing is stirring the white glue, the water, and the food coloring. Now, white glue is composed of a long chain polymer. And that long chain polymer is like spaghetti strands, stringing all over one another. They're not organized, they're not linked up at all, they're just like spaghetti strands slipping all over each other. Soon, we're going to make those spaghetti strands connect. There we go. You can leave your stir stick in there, and we are ready. Now that I've completed this step, it's time for you to complete this step. Step number 3 is adding 10 milliliters of sodium tetraborate solution to my glue mixture. I will now pour in 10 milliliters of sodium tetraborate into my graduated cylinder. Very good. Now, in this next step, maybe using a partner, I will stir with one hand and pour with another. Continuing to stir, I'm seeing a change. Continue to stir. I'm beginning to see a reaction. Now, as I told you before, white glue is like slippery spaghetti strands, not organized and just running all over one another. What's happening right now, since I've added the borax is a cross-linking agent. It's causing the spaghetti strands to begin not to slip around one another, but to have rungs in a ladder. I now have organized sections of spaghetti strands all lining up with rungs in the ladder. It's now time to reach inside and grab my polymer out of my container. Notice I poured in 3 different liquids: water, glue, and borax, all a liquid, and they've now created a solid. Now I'm going to carefully squeeze. There may be some uncross-linked glue inside of here. Just be very careful. Don't squeeze it too hard to cause it to crush or break. I'm now just squeezing ever so slightly to mix these solutions together. Notice that we put liquid glue, liquid water, liquid borax, and now we have a slimy material. They call it super slime. You have just made super slime! Now, let's do some fun tests. First, what you can do is roll your super slime into a ball. Pinch it between 2 fingers and let it ooze. Hold it there for 60 seconds and see how far it will drool down. They don't call it super slime for nothing. Now that you have a long piece of slime, grab it with your hands, carefully mold it back together into a ball, and now I want you to place it in your hand just like this. Take a finger and squish your finger down inside. Pull your finger back up and see how long it takes for the slime to come back to life. Next, squeeze it back into a ball ever so slightly. You don't want it to break apart. Next, we're going to do the classic bounce test. Hold it up about this high and give it a drop. Whoa! Let's watch that again. Here we go. Are you ready? Making sure it's in a nice ball. Don't throw it, just drop it. Here we go. Amazing. This has been Super Slime!